Have you ever felt like the world beneath our feet is just as rich in stories and secrets as the world above? The Euphrates River, a lifeline for empires and civilizations throughout history, has suddenly revealed a treasure trove of mysteries. As its once mighty waters recede, a parched earth gives way to the emergence of forgotten worlds. Hidden beneath the surface are ancient structures, cryptic symbols, and relics of a past long lost to memory. What secrets have lain dormant, kept hidden by the Euphrates for millennia? Could these remarkable discoveries compel us to rewrite the history books? Join us on a captivating journey to uncover the mysteries that the Euphrates has concealed for centuries, exploring the unearthed treasures that offer a glimpse into our ancient past. Chapter 1. The Euphrates Crisis. This amazing river is facing a big threat, though. It is drying up, and this is causing some serious problems for the millions of people who rely on it. Their crops are struggling to grow because there is not enough water. This has forced many families to make a tough decision. They have to leave their homes and villages in search of a place with more water. It's a heartbreaking situation, but why is this happening? The problem starts over miles upstream, all the way back to where the river first begins in the Taurus Mountains of eastern Turkey. Here is where things get a little complicated. For many years, Turkey has been building a lot of dams on the Euphrates River. They started this project a long time ago, back in the 1970s, with the idea of using the river water in two ways. First, they wanted to generate electricity. Dams can be used to create hydropower, which is a clean and renewable way to make energy. Second, they wanted to create more land for growing crops. Dams can create reservoirs, which are like giant lakes, and the water from these reservoirs can be used to irrigate fields. The first big dam they built was the Kebun Dam, which was finished in 1974. Then in 1990, they completed the Ataturk Dam, which is even bigger. And right now, there is a huge project underway called the Southeastern Anatolia Project. This is a very expensive project costing tens of billions of dollars, and it involves building a whole network of dams and power plants on both the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Once it's finished, this project will provide a big chunk of Turkey's electricity. Turkey isn't the only country taking water from the Euphrates. Back in the 1970s, Syria also built a dam on the river called the Tabqa Dam. They built a few more dams after that, but the civil war in Syria stopped them from building any more. The problem is that all this dam building by Turkey and Syria has drastically reduced the amount of water flowing downstream to Iraq. There is another problem with all these dams and irrigation projects. They are making things worse in the long run. Here is why when you build a giant reservoir behind a dam, especially in a hot country like Turkey, a lot of water ends up evaporating from the surface. This means there is less water overall that people can use for drinking, growing crops, and other things. So these dams might seem like a good idea at first, but they end up using up more water than they save. On top of that, things get a bit complicated between countries. The Euphrates flows through several countries, and each one wants to make sure they get their fair share of the water. Sometimes governments use this as a bargaining chip. They might hold back water from their neighbors to try and get something else in return. This can make it even harder for everyone to get the water they need. There is a silver lining to this whole situation, though. As the water levels in the Euphrates drop, something incredible is happening. Archaeologists are uncovering hidden treasures that have been buried beneath the river for centuries. Whole towns and cities that thrived thousands of years ago are emerging from the water. These discoveries are giving us a whole new perspective on history. We are learning more about the people who lived along the Euphrates, how they built their societies, and what their daily lives were like. Do you want to be the first to discover what's next? If your answer is yes, smash that subscribe button and let's embark on this journey together. Chapter 2. The Lifeline of Western Asia. Let's travel to a part of the world where history comes alive. Here we journey alongside the massive river Euphrates, stretching for an incredible 1,740 miles. It is the longest and most important river in Western Asia. To put things into perspective, it is longer than the distance between New York City and Los Angeles. This mighty river winds its way through three countries: Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. The Euphrates, along with its neighbor, the Tigris River to the north, is a lifeline for millions of people. Together, they form a giant network of waterways that irrigate the land, allowing people to live and thrive in the region. This efficient irrigation system wasn't always there, though. People living here centuries ago figured out a clever way to use the river's water to grow crops. They built a complex system of canals and ditches, turning what could have been dry land into fertile fields overflowing with food. These bountiful harvests led to the rise of wealthy and powerful cities like the famous Babylon, which wouldn't have been possible without the Euphrates and Tigris. The land surrounding these rivers is no stranger to history. This area, known as the Fertile Crescent, has been a hotspot for civilization for thousands of years. Thanks to the rich soil and reliable water supply, people were able to settle down, farm, and build permanent communities. This ultimately led to the development of some of the world's earliest cities, including those of Mesopotamia, laying the foundation for the modern world as we know it. The amount of water in the Euphrates changes throughout the year. Between April and May, things get exciting. More rain falls and snow melts high up in the mountains, sending extra water rushing down into the Euphrates. This can make the river rise quite a bit. But even with these changes, the Euphrates still holds on to some of its original plant life. Imagine paddling down the river in southeast Turkey where the mountains rise on either side. Here along the banks you might see a special kind of forest called eric woodland. These are tough trees that can survive in drier areas, but they still get enough water from the Euphrates to thrive. The variety of plants around the Euphrates is incredible. As we travel downstream, the landscape changes. On the banks you might see rose bushes bursting with colorful blooms, or even plum trees laden with juicy fruit. There could be tall pistachio trees reaching for the sun, or mighty oak trees casting cool shade in areas where there is less rain. A different kind of plant life takes over. Here we might see fields of golden wheat swaying in the breeze. There could be rye or oats growing tall and strong, all thanks to the life-giving water of the Euphrates. This amazing diversity of plants, along with the river's long history, makes the Euphrates a truly special place. But the Euphrates isn't just about plants. As we mentioned before, this river is also incredibly important historically. All along the banks there were once bustling cities. Names like Kpar-Napor, Shupak, Mari, Uar, and Uruk might sound strange to us, but these were some of the very first cities in the world. They thrived because of the Euphrates. The river's water was like liquid gold, nourishing the soil and allowing people to grow food. This abundance of food meant these cities could grow and prosper, leaving behind a legacy that continues to amaze us today. Chapter 3. Muet. Along the Euphrates River in Syria is a hidden gem known as Muet. It's an ancient settlement mound located near Raqqa, and it's full of secrets. Although it's now submerged under a dam, archaeologists were able to dig it up and learn a lot about the people who lived there thousands of years ago. Our story starts around 8000 BC. Back then, Muet was a small village for hunter-gatherers. Imagine people living together, hunting for food and depending on what nature provided. But here is the interesting part. There is evidence that they also started collecting wild plants and maybe even planting some themselves. This was a big first step towards farming. Fast forward a bit and Muet starts to change. The people who once moved around hunting animals slowly began to settle down and raise their own. We know this because archaeologists found bones from animals that people were keeping around, not just hunting. It seems like they figured out how to domesticate animals, which was a game changer. But Muet isn't just about farming. Archaeologists also found some really interesting clues about the culture there. It seems they held women in very high regard, maybe even worshipping them as goddesses. This is based on the special artifacts and remains they found. Today, Muet is hidden under a lake, but its story is still alive. It reminds us of the amazing connection between people, the land, and our deep history. Even though we can't visit Muet itself, the knowledge it offers is a captivating window into the past. Chapter 4. Journey through EMR. As the Euphrates keeps revealing its secrets, an incredible city has come to light. It is called EMR, nestled in northern Syria. EMR had a prime location right on a big bend in the Euphrates River. Today you can find its ruins along the shores of Lake Assad, a giant lake created by a dam. EMR's location was perfect for trade. It was like a giant trading hub where goods traveling by boat on the Euphrates could be unloaded and then loaded onto land caravans for further travel. Imagine all the hustle and bustle, people moving goods, making deals, and coming from all over the place. This amazing city has become a gold mine for archaeologists, especially because of the huge amount of clay tablets they have found there. These tablets are like ancient letters and records written in a special language called cuneiform. Unlike other cities where they mostly find royal documents, EMR's tablets are different. They tell us about the everyday lives of regular people. These clay records are like little time capsules. They contain details about people buying and selling things, going to court, dealing with property, getting married, and even adopting children. Each inscription tells a story about a real person in EMR, their worries, their families, and what their lives were like. And there is more. Archaeologists also found a priest's house that had an amazing library hidden inside. This wasn't just a collection of stories and poems. It had all sorts of religious texts too, some that were unique to the local religion of EMR. Thanks to this library, we are learning a lot more about what the people of EMR believed in and how they practiced their religion. By studying these tablets and ruins, we can start to put together a picture of what EMR was like centuries ago. We can learn about their social structure, their laws, and how they lived their daily lives. It's like getting a glimpse into a real neighborhood, not just the history of kings and battles. We see the hopes, dreams, and struggles of ordinary people, which makes history feel much more real and relatable. EMR is still being explored, and with every discovery we learn something new. It's like putting together a giant puzzle piece by piece to create a clearer picture of a civilization lost to time. Chapter 5. The Mysterious Tunnels. As the water levels of the Euphrates go down, the land is revealing incredible secrets from the past. Imagine walking along the banks and seeing things that haven't been seen for thousands of years. One of the coolest things being uncovered are these ancient tunnels. They seem to lead deep underground, and some parts are in amazing condition. There are even stairs that are still totally usable. It's like something out of an Indiana Jones movie. So who built these tunnels? Archaeologists believe they were made by people who lived a long time ago, but there are also some local legends about them. Some believe the tunnels are a gateway to a hidden world. To be more specific, where evil angels are trapped. This idea comes from a story in the Bible in the book of Revelation. The story describes for angels bound by the Euphrates River waiting to be released and cause destruction. Also in the book of Revelation there is a famous prophecy about the Euphrates. The specific prophecy is found in Revelation 16 verse 12, which reads, "Then the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east." This verse is part of a series of apocalyptic visions in the book of Revelation. These visions are attributed to the Apostle John and describe a sequence of events that are often interpreted as the culmination of human history and the coming of the end times. The drying up of the Euphrates River is seen as a significant event in these prophecies. It is believed by some interpreters to symbolize the removal of an obstacle or barrier that allows the kings from the east to march westward to cause trouble. But who exactly are these eastern kings, and what kind of trouble are we talking about? Well, that's a question that's been debated for centuries. There is no one clear answer. While some see it as a metaphorical or symbolic representation of spiritual or political events, others think it's a literal prediction about future wars. The meaning depends a lot on your religious beliefs and how you interpret the Bible. It's definitely a fascinating story, and it shows how the Euphrates River is important not just for history and water, but also for religion and belief. Chapter 6. The Forgotten City of Tekk. Let's take a closer look at one of the amazing things being revealed by the Euphrates as it shrinks. As the water levels drop, a whole ancient city known as Tekk is slowly emerging from the depths. If you could stand in the center of Tekk, you would be in a massive area that rises a good 60 feet above everything around it. This was the heart of the city, a bustling center where people lived and worked for centuries. Over time, Tekk was ruled by different powerful empires: the Assyrians, the Mari kingdom, and even the Babylonians under the famous Hammurabi. Archaeologists are piecing together the story of Tekk, and it's incredible. They have found towering defenses. 3 massive walls, each 20 feet tall and 60 feet wide. Imagine that. There is even a deep moat surrounding the city, making it clear that Tekk was a very important place that needed protection. These walls weren't built all at once. The first one went up around 2900 BC, and then over the next 200 years they added 2 more walls for even more security. They really took protecting their city seriously. These mighty walls stood strong for centuries, keeping Tekk safe until at least 2000 BC. But Tekk wasn't just about defense. Inside the city walls, they found a temple dedicated to Nerik, the ancient goddess of healing. This amazing building dates back to at least 3000 BC and shows how important religion was to the people of Tekk. They even found some cool Egyptian scarabs during the digs, hinting that Tekk had connections with other civilizations far away. Unearthing Tekk is like taking a trip back in time. With every discovery, we learn more about this powerful city and its place in the ancient world. Archaeologists are piecing together clues to imagine what life was like in Tekk. The busy streets, the bustling markets, and the everyday lives of the people who live there. It's a fascinating story that's still unfolding, and we get to be a part of it. Chapter 7. The Strange Sounds. The Euphrates River is full of surprises, and lately there have been some spooky stories coming from the area. People living near the river are reporting strange sounds coming from deep below the water's surface. What is found after the Euphrates dried up shocked the world, and these unsettling sounds only add to the river's mysteries. Imagine this. You are by the river and you hear these low rumbling moans echoing from deep down. Others have described whispers carrying unknown words or even cries of pain. These sounds are unlike anything they've ever heard before, and they leave people feeling scared and uneasy. Now these stories have sparked all sorts of theories. Some folks believe the sounds are the voices of ancient spirits, restless souls forever tied to the river. Others point to Christian prophecies claiming the sounds are the cries of fallen angels. With all the technology we have today, it's easy to think these stories are just made-up ghost stories, especially with the internet spreading rumors so quickly. Anyone can use a computer to make creepy sounds. So how can you tell what is real and what's fake? But what if there's something to these stories? What if there really is something mysterious living down there in the depths of the Euphrates? Could it be a natural phenomenon like a strange underwater cave making noise? Maybe it's an undiscovered creature that nobody knows about. Or could it be something even more outlandish? We don't have the answer yet, which leaves room for a lot of questions and spooky daydreams. Now it's time for today's subscriber's pick. Throughout this video, we've explored the remnants of ancient civilizations unveiled by the receding waters of the Euphrates. Each discovery a portal to our distant heritage. However, the narrative takes an unexpected turn when we encounter something that deviates from human craftsmanship. Presented here is a photograph capturing the colossal head of a creature, characterized by a singular eye, embedded within the parched riverbed of the Euphrates. The onlookers gathered around this enigmatic being oscillate between fascination and wariness, pondering the implications of such an otherworldly find. In an age where digital manipulation and artificial intelligence can fabricate realities, skepticism towards such images is natural. Yet, let's entertain the possibility of its authenticity for a moment. The revelation of such a creature following the drying of the Euphrates would undoubtedly send shockwaves across the globe, transcending mere astonishment to evoke a blend of panic and wonder. Now, we turn the conversation to you. Faced with the discovery of an entity as perplexing as this, how would you react? The dialogue extends beyond the confines of disbelief and curiosity. Share your thoughts and hypothetical actions in the comments below as we delve into the mysteries that our world, and perhaps others, have to offer. Chapter 8. The Tomb of Gilgamesh. This video wouldn't be complete without talking about the legendary King Gilgamesh. The story of Gilgamesh is like something straight out of a myth. A brave king who faced monsters and embarked on epic journeys. But for a long time, many people thought his story was just a fairy tale. Then, in 2003, everything changed. A team of archaeologists from Germany went on a dig in modern-day Iraq, and guess what they found? They unearthed an ancient city believed to be the legendary Uruk, the place Gilgamesh called home. This was a huge discovery, but it gets even better. While searching for hidden parts of Uruk, the archaeologists used a special tool called a magnetometer. This fancy device helps them see things buried underground, and what did they find? A buried complex that looked suspiciously like a tomb. Newspapers around the world went wild. Could this be the final resting place of Gilgamesh himself? Here's why this find is so exciting. The Epic of Gilgamesh is a famous story that tells us a lot about ancient Mesopotamia, their beliefs, and how they saw the world. And guess what? The descriptions of Gilgamesh's burial place in the epic sound an awful lot like this mysterious tomb. So who was Gilgamesh exactly? He wasn't your average king. He was a true hero. People in Uruk loved telling stories about his incredible strength and courage to protect his city. Gilgamesh even teamed up with a powerful warrior named Enkidu. Together they took on terrifying monsters and fierce enemies like Humbaba, the guardian of a giant cedar forest. They were unstoppable. They even chopped down those ancient cedar trees, but messing with the forest gods wasn't a good idea. The gods were furious and decided to punish Gilgamesh and Enkidu. Sadly, they took Enkidu away from Gilgamesh, which filled him with deep sorrow. This loss made Gilgamesh question everything. He started to wonder if there was a way to cheat death and live forever. So he embarked on a long and dangerous journey to find a man named Utnapishtim who was said to have survived a great flood and become immortal. Gilgamesh's journey was epic. He faced ferocious lions, deadly scorpions, and even crossed a vast sea. But when he finally met Utnapishtim, he learned a surprising truth. True immortality wasn't meant for humans. However, Utnapishtim did tell Gilgamesh about a special plant that could make him young again. Gilgamesh almost had it, but a sneaky serpent stole the plant before he could grab it. Even though he didn't get the magic plant, Gilgamesh's journey wasn't a failure. He learned something even more valuable, a deeper understanding of life and death. He returned to Uruk a wiser and kinder king, and he made his city even more prosperous. So what happened to Gilgamesh in the end? Well, history isn't entirely clear, but most accounts say he lived a long and eventful life, and after his death he was buried somewhere beneath the Euphrates River. Some even say the mighty river parted its waters to allow his tomb to be built. So you can see why archaeologists are so excited about this possible tomb. If they can confirm it's Gilgamesh's final resting place, it would be a game-changer for our understanding of ancient history and the epic story of Gilgamesh. Chapter 9. Lost City of Ur. Just when you think history has shown all its cards, the Euphrates River surprises us by revealing a lost city known as Ur. This ancient metropolis thrived thousands of years ago, located roughly 140 miles southeast of Babylon and 10 miles west from where the Euphrates runs today. In its prime, Ur stood on the edge of the Persian Gulf, but as time passed, the coastline shifted and Ur found itself inland, resting on the southern bank of the river. The story of Ur begins around 4000 BC with settlers possibly from northern Mesopotamia laying the foundation for what would become a significant city. By 2500 BC, Ur had risen to prominence, serving as the capital under its first dynasty and becoming the cultural and economic heart of southern Mesopotamia. Excavations near Ur have unveiled royal tombs filled with treasures including gold, silver, bronze, and precious stones, reflecting the city's wealth and the sophistication of its people. After World War I, excavation efforts led by renowned archaeologist H.R. Hall peeled back the layers of Ur's history, revealing temples, palaces, bustling marketplaces, and homes offering insight into daily life in ancient Ur. But Ur's story isn't just about its structures. Archaeologists have also uncovered clay tablets bearing the written language, laws, and social structures of its people. Artifacts such as sculptures and murals provide a glimpse into their religious beliefs, customs, and artistic expression. Ur serves as a powerful reminder of how empires and their achievements can endure through millennia, waiting to be rediscovered. With every new discovery at Ur, we learn more about the lives, beliefs, and advancements of its inhabitants. Thanks to the Euphrates River's changing course, we have the opportunity to delve into the past and celebrate the rich history of Mesopotamia and the people of Ur. Chapter 10. Rediscovering a Bronze Age Metropolis. Back in 2008, a severe drought struck Iraq, causing the water levels in the Euphrates to drop dramatically. This posed a significant problem for farmers who relied on the water for their crops. To mitigate the situation, the Iraqi government decided to drain a giant reservoir behind a dam in Kurdistan. As the water levels decreased, an incredible sight unfolded. The ruins of an entire ancient city emerged from beneath the water, revealing itself like a forgotten treasure chest. Archaeologists seized this rare opportunity to explore the city before it could be submerged once again. Fortunately, locals living nearby lent their knowledge. They revealed that the city had been present long before the construction of the dam in the 1980s and disclosed an intriguing detail. A massive earthquake in 1350 BC had severely damaged the city, preventing prior exploration. Thanks to the drought and local assistance, archaeologists were granted a unique chance to uncover parts of this lost city. It was akin to stepping into the past. They discovered grand structures previously unknown, including what appeared to be a vast palace. This palace boasted walls 22 feet high and 6 feet thick, still bearing faint traces of red and blue paint, a glimpse into its erstwhile splendor. Despite the limited time before rising water levels concealed the city, once more the drought of 2021 offered another opportunity for exploration. This time a team from Germany arrived at the site and uncovered more about the city's significance. They found a variety of buildings, from factories and a large storage area to a fortified section with robust walls and towers, indicating the city's role as a key hub in the Mitanni Empire and affluent Bronze Age kingdom. Remarkably, despite being submerged for over 40 years and constructed of mud, the city walls remained in relatively good condition, some still standing nearly 10 feet tall. Among the most exciting finds were pottery jars filled with cuneiform tablets, the oldest known form of writing. Some tablets were intact, offering messages from the city's ancient inhabitants. These clay tablets have acted as time capsules, preserving tales from a bygone era. This extraordinary discovery offers a window into the lives of those who dwelled in this once-lost city. As we say goodbye for now, remember our conversation continues in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and let's keep the dialogue alive.